Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Lamplight City. And we are moving on to our next case, guys.
And it says here they still don't know what caused that explosion.
I guarantee you it was sabotage. Those Redites have been causing a lot of trouble lately.
Is that the group of anti-steam tech radicals?
The very same.
Why Redites, though?
They're named after some fellow named Jonathan Red, apparently the one who began the whole anti-steam movement. It's really a rather stupid name, if you ask me. And uncreative, to boot.
Well, what would you call them, then?
Let's see. The Anti-Steam Society. I like the Boom Boom Boys. That sounds like an old school gang that you would hear about.
Something more evocative, like the Boom Boom Boys.
Definitely gets to the point, I'll give you that. Perhaps you'd best stick with the detecting, dearest. Your nomenclature needs a bit of work.
Well, I think it's about time I get ready for bed.
All right, Miles, if you must.
Okay, it's all the same stuff.
It's been so long since you used that desk. Did you even notice when Adelaide got rid of the chair?
Gotcha. Can we have a chat with her?
Let her be for now. You've got your own things to take care of.
I guess we see how he puts on the medicine. Or how he applies the medicine.
Who could that be at this time of night?
Good question. But Adelaide can handle it for now. I need to take my medicine.
You certainly have your priorities in order. Go on then. Get that bottle of rat piss out of your nightstand and let's get this over with.
Oh, that's not good. We should go back.
Addie can handle whoever's at the door. I need to take my medicine.
Ugh. One-track mind.
Ugh, tastes like the devil's sweat.
You could just stop taking it, you know.
Bill, now is not the time to...
Miles, could you come back out here, please?
Be right there, dearest. Who was that at the door?
A late-night courier. You've got a message from Upton.
Well, that could have been worse. Fordam, this case makes the last one look simple. Meet me at Ruin ASAP. It's urgent. Or at Ruin, excuse me.
It seems this case is rather urgent. She wants me to meet her as soon as possible.
But didn't you just take your soporific? Are you going to be all right to go?
It won't kick in for another hour or so. Should be plenty of time.
All right, I'm going to bed then. Good luck, dear.
Good night, Addie.
Kiss your wife, for God's sake.
There's no time to waste, Miles. You need to go meet Upton.
Shame. Okay. It's the late night coffee house. Looks like the same patrons, though.
Hello, Upton.
I'm glad you came, Fordam. Sorry for disturbing you this late.
I'm curious to know what's so important that it couldn't wait until morning.
An infant kidnapping in Lyon. The report came in tonight just before my shift ended. The family wants to keep the investigation very low-key. They're afraid if word gets out, they'll have all sorts of ne'er-do-wells making false ransom claims. That's why I suggested they let you investigate first. Head over to 45 Belcourt Street. That's the home of Malcolm and Miriam Harris, the parents of the kidnapped boy.
Harris? As in Harris Construction Company?
The very same. Owned by Malcolm's father, no less. Now you see why they wanted to keep this out of the public eye.
Indeed. If they manage to get a new transatlantic airship off the ground, it'll be an aura mine. I can see why they'd make an easy target.
Kind of reminds me of the whole Lindbergh baby situation.
Okay, I'm on it. I'll try and find him as soon as I possibly can.
Right. Good luck on your investigation. Come see me again once you've figured things out. Or if you just need to talk. I'll be here all day tomorrow as well. So feel free to stop by.
Well, that's convenient. So where's our first stop? The Harris residence, with the pacifier too.
Mr. Miles Fordam is here to see you, sir.
Very good, Mr. Havelock. Send him up.
Yes, sir.
Interesting coat for a butler.
Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Fordam. I'm Malcolm Harris.
I'm terribly sorry to hear about what's happened, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Fordam. You were very highly recommended by Miss Upton. She said you'd be able to solve this faster and more discreetly than the police. I admit it's a rather unorthodox approach, but we're desperate.
I understand. I'll do all I can to find the kidnapper and bring your son back unharmed.
If you'd like to examine the nursery, it's just through that door to the left. I'll ask you to please try and keep quiet, as I just sent my wife to bed. Her nerves are rather shot, you see.
Yes, of course.
I know the hand and waistcoat pose is supposed to look stately, but to me it always looks like the person is scratching themselves. But the Harris family certainly has a nice view from which to look down upon the world. I wonder if they use the balcony to give speeches to the gardeners.
Could be a point of entry, too.
She looks like she's up to something. I wouldn't get too close, Miles. That vase is probably worth more than your entire building. I'm sure the only location the Harrises care about is wherever they are at any given moment. It's nice to see that tea is still served here even in times of tragedy.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
No doubt you do, but I'm really not in the mood to talk right now. It's been a difficult evening, and I'm not certain I have it in me to answer your questions at the moment.
Fair enough, but I will need to ask you about the incident at some point.
Yes, that's fine. Just not now.
Interesting. Well, I guess we'll check out the nursery. Broken window. Looks like there may be a piece of evidence right there.
Look at that. The kid has a toy chest. My sister and I used to have to keep our toys buried in the backyard. Of course, that is because the only toys we had were dead rats. My friend Bunny. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want a giant imaginary rabbit for a friend.
What was it, Jimmy Stewart?
Bear's Picnic. Something about a group of giant human-like bears eating together in the woods is slightly unsettling.
This coming from the kid that played with dead rats.
Some sort of fuzzy animal wearing a waistcoat. Charming. A steam-powered bottle warmer. Certainly beats having to do it in the fireplace. Or in the case of my parents, over a barrel fire. Nice mobile. Custom made, too. There'll be no mistaking what family this child comes from.
I like the blimp motif.
That's odd. Why is there a loose button in the crib? I'm no expert on children, but it seems like it would be dangerous to have around an infant. The kidnapper left the child's blanket behind. There doesn't appear to be any trace of the silver spoon, though.
Anything else?
Doesn't look very comfortable. Whoever sits here must end up with a sore backside after a while. Nice view of the garden from up here.
Torn fabric. There we go.
Interesting. This fabric looks as though it came from a garment of some kind. Be careful not to cut yourself, Miles. I don't think the Harris family has ever seen blood that isn't blue. Probably won't be another year or so before the child gets any practical use out of those blocks beyond putting them in his mouth.
And I know this is probably paranoid, but I am just writing those letters down. Just in case. EDC. Okay.
Look, you can see the balcony extends all the way around the side of the manor.
That would make it rather easy for someone to access this window from the outside.
No evidence of what was used to smash the glass, though.
Well, maybe we'll have to actually go out to the balcony.
It looks rather flimsy. Let's not try sitting on it.
Then what's the point?
There's a small emblem sewn onto the side of this piece of fabric. It just says SS.
Somebody's initials, maybe?
Let's hope. Alright, doesn't look like we can pick up anything else. Let's go ahead and...
Oh dear.
How wonderful. The soporific has started working. Well done, Fordam. Now how are you supposed to... What's the word I'm looking for? Instigate? Interrogate? I just had it on the tip of my tongue.
Perhaps it's time to call it a night.
Dreamweaver.
Shh, it's time to sleep.
Oh dear. Okay. We're gonna fall down the stairs.
No talking now. He'll know it's all wrong. I am fading. I am fading.
Bedroom?
I don't know what to say to that.
Okay, just wondering.
Well, Mr. Harris, I believe I've done all I can for right now.
Did you find anything?
Yes, I believe I have some leads I can pursue. But the most important thing to do in cases like this is wait to hear from the kidnappers. I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue my investigation and ask you and your wife some questions once you've had time to calm down a bit. In the meantime, I suggest you stay here and get some sleep. We'll all need it.
Okay, I was wondering if he was just gonna fall down the stairs. Sometime later.
Miles, wake up. It's nearly noon.
Ah, so it is.
Why didn't you come to bed when you got home last night?
It was late. I didn't want to disturb you.
So what was so urgent about the case Upton sent you?
I'm trying to track a kidnapped child.
Oh my goodness. That's awful.
Yes, the pressure's on, but I think I should be able to crack it.
Assuming you actually managed to get anything done at the Harris Manor today.
Well, let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Also, we've got company. Mrs. Delacroix is having her hair done here today, so please make yourself presentable.
You mean I'm not all ready?
At least do something about your hair. I do have a reputation to maintain after all.
What's wrong with my hair?
Do you really want me to answer that? We'll be here all day.
Okay.
It's admirable just how organized Adelaide is. Maybe someday the same can be said about you.
Oh, I was gonna see if there's a brush nearby. Just kind of run it through. Anything else? So we know what the drug actually does to Miles now. Seems like a high price to pay for just keeping Bill quiet.
And then he said, "Oh, hello there. I don't believe we've met."
Mrs. Delacroix, this is my husband, Miles. Miles, this is Mrs. Delacroix.
Pleasure to meet you, madam.
Likewise, young man. Pleasure.
Is everything all right, Mrs. Delacroix?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, everything's fine. It's just that, well, you weren't what I was expecting, is all.
Keep your head, Miles. She may be a close-minded idiot, but she's just an old lady.
What were you expecting exactly?
Well...
Now then, Mrs. Delacroix, what was it that you were telling me about Mr. Delacroix and his dogs?
Oh, yes. So, Harold came in and said...
Impressive. She got off pretty easy. I was expecting a repeat of the Parsons incident. You should give Adelaide a kiss on the way out, though, just to make the old bat feel extra uncomfortable.
I like that. That's a good idea, Bill.
She can get as painted up and coiffed as she likes. It's not going to fix the ugliness inside.
Ooh, new newspaper. Dupree scandal shocks Gascon society. Madame Laura Dupre the Gascon Grand Dame reported to have died 2 weeks ago, is in fact alive. Details emerged after a police investigation that Dupre was made to appear dead and almost buried alive. In a shocking turn of events, it was discovered that Madame Dupre had been torturing her servants, even going so far as to keep one locked in a hidden room. The servant unfortunately died. Dupre was arrested for manslaughter and will stand trial in the coming months. The suspected assailant, Albert Martin, was released with a full pardon. Public opinion has quickly turned against Dupre, with many claiming that she got what she deserved. A signed confession was given by a Guy Dumas, but police have been unable to locate him. Huzzah! Protests at Heir shipyard continue. The public unrest after the disaster of the HMS Ligea shows no sign of slowing, as protesters continue to line up outside the gates of the Harris Construction Air Shipyard. Currently in the process of building the Ligea's sister ship, the HMS Lenore, Harris Construction took out the contract several months before the Ligea crashed. Clyde Harris, owner of the Harris Construction, said, "While the Ligea disaster was a most unfortunate accident, it should not be taken as any indication that steam technology is in any way dangerous. The fact remains that airships are among the safest means of transportation. To halt the construction of the Lenore would symbolize a setback not only to our cultural prosperity, but to New Bretagn's financial prosperity as well." Harris, long criticized for his apparent Prime Minister's re-election campaign, intensifies. Prime Minister Herbert Atwood is making no secret of his desire to be re-elected this year. The leader of the Conservative Party has begun his campaign, promising to focus on better quality of life in Vespuccia? By embracing new technological advances and implementing automated workers in factories to reduce overcrowding and reliance on child laborers. Liberal Party leader Hart Leroy has blasted Atwood, saying his plan will only increase the already staggering amount of unemployment in New Bretagne and other cities. Leroy has also accused Atwood of purposely delaying the construction of the Gascon Chomedy Bridge. The people will only believe in the lack of funds for so long before they start realizing the truth. Atwood and his cronies just want to keep the riffraff out, Leroy said. Sabotage blamed for brewery explosion. The explosion at the Haskins Brewery last Thursday has been determined to be a case of sabotage, according to the New Bretagne police. Originally thought to have been caused by faulty machinery, the investigation turned up the remnants of a crude explosive device hidden inside one of the tanks. The explosion did not kill anyone, but caused several employees to be injured, and the brewery to be shut down for several days. When asked to comment, Chief of Police Reginald Snelling declined naming any suspects in the bombing, but did not rule out the possibility of the Redites being involved. "We have some information at present, but not enough to make any official determinations. Rest assured, those responsible will be brought to justice," said Snelling. Haskins Brewery is best known for producing Bollingworth Ale. No! Poor Bill.
Addie?
Not right now, Miles. I'm busy. We can talk once I finish with Mrs. Delacroix.
Aw, wanted to give her a kiss.
Addie?
Not right now, Miles. I'm busy. We can talk once I finish with Mrs. Delacroix.
Shame. Okay. Well, guess it is what it is. Oh, okay. Kiss Adelaide goodbye. Absolutely.
Goodbye, dearest.
I look forward to your return, my love.
The aftermath of that conversation. Okay.
Remind me, Miles, how is finding some rich people's kidnapped baby going to help us track down the flower shop burglar?
I'm not interested in the burglar right now. I want to help these people and get their child back. Or at the very least, help them find out what happened to him.
Right. Well, you'll need your full wits about you if you plan on doing that.
I do have my full wits about me. I'm perfectly capable of doing this.
Yes, and I'm perfectly capable of being alive. I just choose to be this way because it saves on the laundry expenses. You can't deny it. You need to stop taking the soporific, Miles. Adelaide has been trying to get you to stop for months, and Upton already suspects something is amiss. Not to mention your little episode last night. Trust me, no one is going to want to hire the Dullard detective.
Clever. Did you come up with that one all by yourself?
What are you going to do when the cases stop coming in? How long before you get put away in Riverview?
If I do get locked away, it'll be your fault.
Which is exactly why you need to get back to your normal routine so you can find the burglar.
All right, fine. I'll stop. But you know that doesn't guarantee we'll find the burglar any sooner.
Yeah, I'm aware, but it increases the odds significantly. Well, I'm glad that's settled then. I knew you'd see things my way eventually.
It's not as though you gave me much of a choice.
In time, you'll thank me. Probably not before the withdrawal hits, though.
Don't make me change my mind on this, Bill.
Good talk, Bill. Ah, the lady's in.
Mr. Fordam, you're back. Allow me to introduce my wife, Miriam.
Hello.
A pleasure, Mrs. Harris. I wish we could have met under better circumstances, but I assure you I'm doing all I can to find your son.
Thank you, Mr. Fordam.
Mr. Harris, has there been any communication from the kidnapper?
None at all.
Well, I'll have another look around, if you don't mind.
Okay, we're going to check the nursery. I want to see if we can grab that button again.
Miles, didn't you notice something a bit strange about the Harrises?
Quite a few things, actually. What are you referring to?
Their son was just kidnapped, yet they're each on their own side of the sitting room.
Yeah.
Not comforting each other, not crying together. Nothing.
They're stuck-up rich people. Not exactly the type to show emotion.
Miles, you know I'm the most cynical person there is when it comes to their type. But this isn't normal behavior, even for snobs. This goes deeper than saving face. There's something going on between them. I think you should find out what.
I agree with Bill. I noticed that when we walked in.
If only the flower shop burglar was as easy to find as this clue was.
There we are. You gotta keep in mind that sometimes we have to observe and then pick up. Anything change with the broken window?
Be careful not to cut yourself, Miles.
Okay, no one's tampered with the evidence. Now we will head over here into this bedroom. A suction cleaner.
Fancy. Some poor servant's probably going to get a flogging for leaving it in here, though. Who in their right mind would need that many drawers?
Let's see what we have here. A very poorly written letter addressed to Mr. Harris.
I don't suppose it's a letter of admiration.
On the contrary, the author seems quite upset.
Mr. Harris, this is your weekly reminder of how much I hate you. Because of you, my wife is dead. My wife was a wonderful woman, and you have taken her from me. I hope you suffer as much as I have. Arthur Devons.
Nothing else of note in any of the drawers.
Oh, well, at least we got to play a rousing game of Search the Rich People's Dresser. Wardrobes are usually always full of wonderfully dark secrets.
Or portals to Narnia. No portals here, sadly.
An empty suitcase. I suppose Mr. Harris must travel every now and then. One thing is for certain. Mr. Harris uses entirely too much starch on his shirts. Yeah, it seems like this is where Mrs. Harris keeps her unmentionables. I like the ones with the frills and the stitched cat. Paperwork and receipts. Nothing particularly interesting here. More lacy underthings. I wonder which Harris they belong to.
Would you like me to ask, Bill?
Mr. Harris's color selection is almost as drab as yours.
Let's see if there's anything of interest in any of the pockets.
So, Mr. Harris is a fan of the ponies, is he? I'm sure that's not causing him any trouble at all.
Name of horse, obsessive. Bet amount 250, number of bets 10. 321-1420. New blah. The Meadowlands? Neat.
Painting of the city. Probably the only time the Harris family sees any of the other boroughs. Oh, another four-poster. The Harris family certainly makes no secret of their wealth. It looks like a pile of women's clothes. Must belong to Mrs. Harris.
It seems out of character, though.
There's a handwritten note among the clothes.
Miriam, baby, I have to see you tonight. It's been far too long. R. Ooh. Interesting. Clues, torn fabric, loose button.
Nothing else hidden among the clothes. Too bad.
Alright. Who do we talk to first, though, is the question. Let's go ahead and talk to Malcolm.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
Yes, of course.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of info.
Tell me everything you can about the kidnapping.
I don't know much. I was out last night while it happened.
Where had you been previously?
I was out with friends. My wife can verify the time I arrived home.
Wait a minute. I know this attitude all too well. This man is hiding something. Most likely from his wife. I doubt his voice is from beyond the grave, so the question is, what's his secret?
It's the betting stubs.
Tell me about your son.
Charles is a good boy. Very quiet. Miriam had wanted a child almost from the moment we married. You know how women are when they have their hearts set on something. I saw no need to rush, but...
Nice to know you're not the only one. Hey, Miles.
The first 2 times Miriam was with child, she suffered some unfortunate accidents. She was devastated, as you can imagine. So when Charles finally came along, he turned out to be quite a blessing. I can't imagine what sort of depraved madman would take him from us like this. You must find him, Mr. Fordam.
I intend to, Mr. Harris.
Might not be a man.
Tell me about yourself.
There isn't much to tell, really. My life has been fairly well publicized in the newspapers.
Let's pretend for a moment that I skip over the society pages.
Well, I'm an investor. My father Clyde runs Harris Construction Company, which I will someday inherit. Any other details about me are fairly trivial nonsense, I think.
I found this button in your son's crib. Does it look familiar at all?
No, not at all. Do you think the kidnapper might have left it behind?
It's a distinct possibility.
But it was way too obvious.
I found this bit of torn fabric by the broken window. Do you know anything about it?
Looks like it came from a piece of clothing. Possibly a jacket.
Did the initials SS mean anything to you?
Maybe. I can't really say. You'll have to excuse me, Mr. Fordam. I've got quite a lot on my mind right now. If I can think of anything, I'll be sure to let you know.
Uh-huh.
I found this letter in your bedroom. What can you tell me about it?
You went through our things?
I'm a private investigator, Mr. Harris. It's part of my job.
Of all the insolence!
You're upset, I know, but do you want me to find your son or don't you?
Yes, of course I do.
Huzzah.
That letter was sent to me by mistake. It was written to my father. Well, if you can even call that writing.
Have I ever mentioned how much I hate rich people? Because I really hate rich people.
Your father. Doesn't he own the company building the new airship?
Yes, that's right. He's been receiving many letters just like that one since the Lygia disaster. But that Devons fellow in particular has sent one every week, along with a bag of chicken bones and dust.
How peculiar.
Not only that, he leads a daily protest in front of the construction yard where the HMS Lenore is being built, trying to halt production. My God! How did I not see this before?
See what?
Devons! He has a grudge against this family because of what happened with the Lygia. I'd put money on him being involved with the kidnapping somehow, as a form of retaliation.
I'll just have to speak with Mr. Devons and see for myself.
He's a very passionate man.
How goes the construction of the new airship?
There have been some complications, but nothing we can't handle.
Could you be a bit more specific?
Well, I already told you about the trouble with protesters at the yard, and we're blocked pending Royal Maverick's review of the safety regulations for the prototype etheric diffusion engines. Agitators and red tape aside, we should still be on schedule to have the Lenore finished and in the air by the end of the year. But really, Mr. Fordam, what the deuce does this have to do with finding Charles?
He has a point, you know.
Just curious. And I'm more curious about this.
Mr. Harris, what can you tell me about these?
What? How did you...
Listen, I'm trying to help you and your family. I can't do it if I don't get the entire truth.
Do you think we could discuss this somewhere more private?
I suppose we could.
Good. Let's move to the nursery then.
We haven't even had a chance to talk with the lady. Okay. Well, actually, this will probably be a prime chance to talk to Miriam. And I think we'll do that at the beginning of the next episode, guys. We see what the soporific does to Miles. Not particularly a good thing, but hopefully the withdrawal symptoms aren't going to get in the way of us finding this kid. But hope you all have enjoyed the episode. If you liked it, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.